for them to try to move through this field as the green flag drops.
Well, let's remember that car on the outside of the back row, Dave Blaney, is the quickest qualifier of them all. Oh, in turn number 1, they are in the fence. There's a multi-car incident. In turn number 1, this race will be stopped immediately.
We've got a car outside the track, Steve. One went right through the fence. It looks like Marlon Jones in the number 9. That race car spilled upside down as Danny Tolman's 2V. He is still in that automobile. Now you hear the applause from this giant crowd. That means that Marlon Jones is out of his race car. John Cernette is out of the car. Dave Blaney is apparently all right, but right now the concern is directed at Danny Tolman in that automobile. There's one of the emergency workers trying to get him unhooked. Let's hope he's all right. These roll cages are very stout, but they're never quite stout enough. So concern here spreading through this giant audience. There is Marlon Jones, number 9. Believe it or not, he walked out of that race car. Completely out of the park, Steve, but note, roll cage intact, and that big wing apparently helped to cushion the automobile. But it's going to be some time before they get that fence repaired. There he is. Danny Tolman out of the race car. He, too, is all right. So we got 4 cars totally destroyed, but thankfully 4 drivers all right.
And now it's time to take another look at this one, Brock. One of the most spectacular accidents that we have ever seen in our 6-year coverage of World of Outlaw Racing. I don't have to tell you that it all happened right here in turn number 1.
An incredible, almost like a train wreck, as these cars literally disintegrate into that fence outside turn number 1. Unbelievable that these drivers were apparently uninjured as we watch this wreckage begin to be strewn all over the racetrack here at Knoxville. Okay, let's take another look as they come down the front straightaway toward the green flag. All right, watch the white number 2. That's Marlon Jones in the number 9 cutting in front of him. And then Jones slides up against the 14S of John Cernette, which causes him to flip. Danny Tolman in the 2V rolls. Marlon Jones goes through the fence. Dave Blaney in the 48 car goes through the wreckage, picking up shrapnel. His car is badly damaged, but does not roll. The only one of the 4 not to get upside down. That is John Cernette being led to the ambulance. He looks as if he's all right, but they will check all of these drivers to make sure that there isn't any hidden injuries. But Cernette at this point appears to be all right. Not so with his race car, which is a total wreck. Back on its wheels, they'll clear it away as they will the other automobiles. And now let's go down to Steve on the scene.
Well, Brock, the cleanup still in process down here in turn number 1. As you know, a multi-car accident, including one completely over or actually through the fence. But the good news is, miraculously enough, everyone is A-OK. A lot of shaken drivers, a lot of them have already gone back to the pits to either try to get a quiet moment or to maybe find some parts to try to repair these cars. But again, everyone is OK.
And truly a miracle and a testimony to the safety of these automobiles as Danny Tolman gets a hug. Remember, he was trapped in his race car for a while, causing concern. Steve, can you get him?
Danny, you OK?
Yeah, I'm fine.
Did you tell from your seat what triggered it?
The white car in front of me, the guy right in front of me got a little crossed up there getting into this turn. Remember, I let off throttle, the guy in the back of me just shoved me right into him, and I crawled over him.
Well, considering the carnage we're looking at down here, it's a real testimony to the people that build these cars that you are OK, all of you.
Yeah, it is. I think that sprint car organizations ought to go to a cage limit on these cars, because that's a 120 wall cage, and I think that ought to be made mandatory, and they need some way to check them because they'll hold up better.
Okay, Danny endorsing a heavier wall tubing in these sprint car cages. Let's hope everybody's listening.
And let's not forget the value of these great big wings. They absorbed an awful lot of shock in this incident. It could have been worse without them. Now, there is the crew of the 48 car, the Dave Blaney machine. They know they have one of the quickest sprinters here this weekend. They want to get it back in action if at all possible. And right now, Brock Yates is with a man that'll drive it if they can get it fixed.
Steve, I'm with Dave Blaney, who was in the middle of that. And just run down exactly what happened to you, Dave.
Well, I kind of was trailing along the outside fence there on the start, and looked like a couple guys got tangled up in the middle of the racetrack, and they just come skating out to the outside and all got in the fence.
You tore up the front end, but do you think you can get it fixed?
Yeah, it looks like it right now. I got about 30 guys working on it. Yeah, I think we'll get it fixed.
Okay, thanks, Dave.
Well, Brock, if they can't get it fixed, it won't be for the want of hands. I think his estimate of 30 people might be just a little bit low. They are manhandling that car. They already have a new wing on the top of it, working on the suspension bits. And here's another crew with a different set of tools. Hammers, chainsaws, welders, post hole diggers. The crew of Knoxville Raceway trying to get that fence back in shape just as quickly as possible. We'll be back to Knoxville right after this. Well, the crew of the number 9 car, driven by Marlon Jones, assessing the damage on that race car. It's too severe for it to rejoin heat number 4, but it will race again. Now, Marlon has gone to the hospital, but we get a report that he's A-OK. He just wanted to be checked out, as Brock said earlier, to make sure there were no hidden injuries. So the man from Sioux Falls, South Dakota, is just fine.